The question that I'll be asking today to you as our audience and to our panelists today is, why is it hard for us to maintain purity? And when I say purity, I mean sexual purity in this generation.
If you're being real with each other, if you're being real on this topic,
Yeah.
bro, sisemi sex ni kitu baya.
Si kitu baya by the way.
Na most of the times wase huwa describe sex,
Yeah.
what to describe what comes out
Out
of having sex, and that is the pleasure in it.
And again, as we have this discussion, as you have that information, umeget information fulani, when ndio utaamua, because inaweza kuwa truth for you but see truth. Unaelewa, inaweza kuwa tu an opinion formed a theory and it became a law, and maybe that's how the law of the land works. You know, someone came with an opinion, someone sat down, thought, by the way, why not say we need to use traffic lights? And they were like, okay, let's go discuss about it. It became an hypothesis. Then there was a theory formed behind the hypothesis. And then later on, someone felt, okay, now we have the theory. Indeed, it will help people reduce car accidents and all these things. And then for those people, we are explaining just for you to understand what we mean when we talk about opinion, hypothesis, theory, law, and truth. But again, if it becomes a law, truth to the fact, you don't need traffic lights to reduce accidents. You see, that was a theory, but it is not a truth.
Yeah.
The truth is, the reason why people are causing a lot of accidents, either it's because of other factors considered. Now, if there is traffic lights or not, it will not negate the fact or reduce the effects of, or reduce the accidents in our country, for example. That's why we are saying, it starts with an opinion. So if you're using social media if I can borrow what Sam is saying, if you're using social media, you need also to understand. It's like a pool of information. You go there, you take anything. No one chooses an information for you. You choose an information to take in. Now, after that, it forms an opinion in your mind on the factor of success, ladies, men, fashion, and any other thing that affects us as human beings in the life we're living. That's now when you come to the latter, you get to see how now you form a lot of theories in your life. That's when unaweza sema unasikia gamse akisema nani alisema ni possible kukabila sex. Juu umsema alianzia kulikuwa na opinion ilikuwa shared to the person, either a lady or a guy, then ika form a theory. Na ukimletea truth ina test opinion yake, ina test hypothesis yake, ina test law yake, na ina test theory. Now if he's not able to, if the truth will be able to calmalize it na ikuwe truth, then kenye unasema ni right. But kama truth inakuwa able to outshine hizi vitu nne, then kenye ume have ni false definition of whatever you are defining. And again, as we have this discussion, as you have that information, umeget information fulani, when ndio utaamua, because inaweza kuwa truth for you but see truth. Unaelewa, inaweza kuwa tu an opinion formed a theory and it became a law, and maybe that's how the law of the land works. You know, someone came with an opinion, someone sat down, thought, by the way, why not say we need to use traffic lights? And they were like, okay, let's go discuss about it. It became an hypothesis. Then there was a theory formed behind the hypothesis. And then later on, someone felt, okay, now we have the theory. Indeed, it will help people reduce car accidents and all these things. And then for those people, we are explaining just for you to understand what we mean when we talk about opinion, hypothesis, theory, law, and truth. But again, if it becomes a law, truth to the fact, you don't need traffic lights to reduce accidents. You see, that was a theory, but it is not a truth.
Yeah.
The truth is, the reason why people are causing a lot of accidents, either it's because of other factors considered. Now, if there is traffic lights or not, it will not negate the fact or reduce the effects of, or reduce the accidents in our country, for example. That's why we are saying, it starts with an opinion. So if you're using social media if I can borrow what Sam is saying, if you're using social media, you need also to understand. It's like a pool of information. You go there, you take anything. No one chooses an information for you. You choose an information to take in. Now, after that, it forms an opinion in your mind on the factor of success, ladies, men, fashion, and any other thing that affects us as human beings in the life we're living. That's now when you come to the latter, you get to see how now you form a lot of theories in your life. That's why unaweza sema, unasikia gamse akisema nani alisema ni possible kukabila sex. Juu umsema alianzia kulikuwa na opinion ilikuwa shared to the person, either a lady or a guy, then ika form a theory. Na ukimletea truth ina test opinion yake, ina test hypothesis yake, ina test law yake, na ina test theory. Now if he's not able to, if the truth will be able to calmalize it na ikuwe truth, then kenye unasema ni right. But kama truth inakuwa able to outshine hizi vitu nne, then kenye have ni false definition of whatever you are defining. And I think that's why, and I totally agree, the reason why social media can be or cannot be a reason why people are engaging in sex is because of the opinions people held before social media came. And that's why it will result to a quote-unquote end goal, because the opinion was built to a certain goal. Now, as you say, it catalyzed it to become that. Now the speed of reaction was so fast because media was here and it gave opinions that they agreed on, and because let's do this. So, and again, can you blame it on them being naive? Because tumeongelea media, social media, can it be naivety? Okay, watu wako na information. Juu sasa ukishapata information, sino ndio naamua tuifanyie nini?
For me, it's naivety. For me, it's only arrogance.
Okay.
That's why utapata kuna difference in the reason utapata hapa ni practices in the hike at the start of Ghana, the geographical differences due to the information which is pouring into those spaces. Okay. Yeah. Like if you look at the load of information that comes in Nairobi as compared to the one in Ghana, Nairobi ni mob sana. Okay. So you cannot really say that out of huku they are naive. If you're naive in this day and era where information is free and just about anywhere. For example, look at the text that's true to you. Safaricom. Zenda tutaji kuingia Instagram, tutaji kuingia Twitter, tutaji kuingia Facebook, ama WhatsApp. It comes freely through messages. Unaget?
Haitaki bado
bambe. Utaingia tu. Unaget?
When you're relating this.
So the dissemination of information is almost everywhere. And since we are looking at teenagers who are engaging in sexual
activity in the act of
Walijuaje sex? Walifikiria like leo na feel lazima ni sex. Lazima tudeo mtakatifu. Alijuaje lazima mdem.
Yeah, sure. So there was information.
So either way mwili yetu imekuwa so structured already con information fulani.
Yeah.
Nikishika mdem na certain way na aya.
Kumbe
Jonia anaanza kureact. Unaget?
Yeah.
So najua without even being told najua already where Juni is supposed to go.
Yes.
Information changia.
Information, there was an inbuilt default setting.
DNA default setting.
Hiyo hata hakuna mtu amekwambia.
Hiyo kuna mseme amekuwa kushow. Mkaengage. Ni watu wangapi wamengage in sexual activities na tumeona repercussions zake. Sex education is still part of the education system in Kenya. So can we really blame it on naivety? How? That's arrogance. Naivety has no play or part in this. Arrogance has. You know the truth,
but you decided not to follow the truth.
Guys are trying to escape reality by covering it with some lie that they call fact. It is a fact that teenagers are engaging in sexual activities. In fact, but be truth.
No.
So like hakuna venye unasema naivety. Mimi siwezi sema naivety. Hata kuna simu, usikuwe na simu, hakuna zilika naivety.
Kuna information iko ready.
Hata tunasema hata simu hazikuwa ama hata hizi internet hazikuwa. Hiyo information already ilikuwa by default setting.
Now how you use that makes it different. There's something you want to say? On the same?
Just to add, I was just thinking of late. When you talked about purity and you said someone wouldn't say out loud that they are virgins, but also and I was looking at it from a point of, do you say you're a virgin or you're pure from a point of you bragging?
Okay, now now we're introducing intention in the game.
And if you're bragging, does it add value to someone else, the person you're telling? And then going back to what Kanda was saying, nowadays I kind of feel like people, let me just, for example, Christians or just as an individual, you choose this is the life that I want to live, but you don't actually have reasons as to why you're living the way you're living. I was thinking the other day, like, law, if you're doing law, your book of truth means Constitution. If you're doing medicine, there's a book for it. If you're a Christian, kuna Bible. But again, kama wewe ni lawyer in this context, and you've chosen, for example, me choose purity. You kind of need to go back to your
book.
To your book.
To your book of truth.
Exactly. To actually ikupe pointers as to why you're living the way you're living, so that you don't shout of your I am very pure.
My honor.
Yeah, like you see.
I've never engaged in a sexual activity.
Exactly. You wanna have this I feel.
How do I engage kwa nini? What do I end kwa constitution bwana?
Like for real, I kind of feel nowadays people want to just throw opinions. Even when you're having discussions, mtu anataka tu akuje alete wada semokweje, but facts zake hata haziko. Ni kama dokia kutreat alafu akwambie uko na ugonjwa, umuulize symptoms zenye uko nazo, hajui.
Kama kupatie uko na HIV na kupatie symptoms za COVID. Unajua how
naona skimu yangu si COVID. Mimi COVID si
COVID.
Exactly. So that's my point. Like even as you pursue purity, even as you pursue whatever you pursue,
what is your book of knowledge?
What's your book of knowledge? What is your book of truth? Unajua facts zako vizuri. Sawa. So that usikuje unakuja una argue from nowhere. And then if you know, you know. You don't have to prove it to everyone. This is for any young lady out there. If you believe I am okay, not if you believe, if you're a virgin, you know you're a virgin. You don't have
to prove yourself.
Exactly. You don't have to shout from the rooftop, mini virgin. Exactly. And then nowadays in this, like I don't feel like anybody gets excited with the fact that you're a virgin. The only person who gets excited is your husband at that time, because I appreciate the fact that
you kept yourself.
Not husband.
So
boyfriend, husband.
Our wengine, we don't care. That's the you care.
No.
Like honestly, the other people will not care. And from my own personal experience, and maybe from my girl group, my squad, because we normally share a lot of stories.
Big up to the gang.
This is the thing. Let me just talk to the young ladies who feel this need for me to have sex. Sex is something that can either make you feel good or disgust you, which you care for the rest of your life. And sex, it's a matter of somebody also getting to appreciate who you are. Someone actually saying, I love you for who you are. What happens when you give sex for the sake of someone loving you and they don't love you? You see where the lie comes in. Usijalau upeane uko nje for the sake of being loved for like 2 hours, ama 1 hour, ama 15 minutes.
Maybe 3 minutes. We never know.
Actually, it's been really like 3 minutes,
It's different, you know, it's a conversation. So
this is an hypothesis.
Yeah, it's an hypothesis. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah, like that's exactly my point. Like you have a lot of value yourself. Usikule mde mwenye unajipeana tu vile tu mtu yote mwenye anakuja na love kidogo anakupeleka date leo, kesho unampea leo anakubaia yogurt, birthday yako amekwambia birthday, unamwambia kwa sababu alinipeleka.
Kuna mtu alisema msijipeane kama fans wa CDF. Msijipeane kwa kila mtu.
Exactly. Acha nikwambie, ukweli ni kila mtu anataka kuonekana anapeana, but si kila mtu anapeana.
You know, just and maybe to cut you short, just the other day, there was a conversation behind body count. No, I believe most of us as we have, or we know of a conversation or we have been part of a conversation of people talking about body count. Now there was this, I don't know if I'll call it interesting, but a weird question. Someone started asking, what will you buy with your body count? And what will you purchase with your body count? And there were absurd answers. Someone said, you know what? Mimi nitanunua simu. Oh man, I'm like, okay.
The cheapest phone in Kabambe, and that's 999.
So,
oh my goodness.
And I was so shocked. And so another lady, I just buy a phone.
Okay.
Another lady who was just seated, she was like, okay, for me, I think I'll ask for a loan. Ndo niweze purchase, because what I received is that because she has not indulged in sex. Now, if it's something, because you borrow a loan because you do not have, right? And you want to facilitate something. And then some other lady said, what? Mimi nitaenda Dubai. I'm like, yeah. Now, the question on body count, on the question on body count, is it that everything, because yes, you have talked about opinion, hypothesis, and truth. Do you think now there is a certain opinion, then it's like a spark that is catching fire so fast that we have normalized every single thing? Like, imagine kitambo hata hiyo ndio swali hata sijui. The first time I heard about body count, I thought people were saying like tuko kwa hiyo tuko watu wangapi, like what's our body count, and I'm like I would be 1 2 3 4. kumbe what they are saying is not what I thought.
Hauko peke yako, zani mimi kuna mtu anza. Lakini Google, thank you for Google. Mimi nilienda ku Google body count. Because siku mtoto aliniuliza kwa chat, what's your body count? And I'm like, okay, what is body count?
Very fast
body count. And I'm like, wait. Nika discussion.
Imagine
Past 10 o'clock. Conversations are going useful. Nakwanga either around mnachangalia kitu aje wala tubujua nitaje secretary.
Longula. It's all about the Longula.
Honestly,
night talk.
Ilikuwa conversation ya 10, okay, naisemanga 10. Conversation past 10 was going to be meaningful. So I can text akaniuliza kuhusu body count, and I had to Google body count nini, and then kakumbuka Kamene kuna time alikuwa anataja story ya
body count.
Then nikajiuliza, how does this person look at me for him to ask me about my body count? Okay. So, as a girl, maybe boys do take pride in talking about their body count, but I feel wewe kama mdem ukifika mali una discuss kuhusu body count yako, I don't.
There is nothing cool with it.
Exactly.
It's not anything to be proud of.
Hata mtu mwenye anakuuliza question, what do they want?
Yeah, because
nakuuliza ndio we have sex na wewe.
And you need for the body.
Because me normally think if a guy really values me and loves me, wouldn't ask me
Such a question.
So for you, ukuje kwa inbox unze what's my body count? Wewe unaona tu na kauneza
piga domo la
pita na wewe. Very fast.
So interesting.
But nasikia, and unfortunately, the people we call the influencers are the people influencing this young generation. Because as much as unaona kasa hii tukiavi conversation, kuna mseme cut down ana feel rebuked, kuna mseme cut down ana feel ako corrected, na kuna mseme atasema mimi hainisaidii juu mimi na feel wako down. Hawa watatu wanaongelea hii story na feel wako down juu hawana experience. Unaelewa? Kuna kitu wana hata quote unquote. But I think influencers are really, and I'm not blaming someone, but I feel they have a very huge role to play because there is a reason why they have been called influencers. There are people following you and you're influencing them in a certain way, to a certain direction, for a final destination, to do something or with someone, you understand? Now looking at the situation in itself, I think influencers wanna play a big role. Mtu anaanzisha history ya body count ni mtu influential that anaambia mdem flani ama aliuliza mdem flani juu ya story flani ama sijui kama maboy ulizwa the same thing, because let me put it here on the table and facts, this is truth. Not every man is proud ati amesema when yaje unachua ule mdem nilikuwa na yeye ule unless the definition of what they call manhood is skewed. But real men respect, take care, and they are responsible of.
Like me,
kuna swali yenye niko nayo.
just to be corrected, not corrected, but don't most men take pride in knowing that there are a lot of ladies they've had sex?
Well, depending on the definition of what is making them say that. Because na feel reason awase wa young, awase ma teenagers wana grow. Kuna watu wanawaangalia na wanawadefine kenye wanadu. Juu ukiangalia vizuri kwa situation, for example, you are a teenager, a common teenager who has a big brother. This big brother is proud of having sex with 2 ladies, you know. The reason why tunaanza kuongelea orgies and threesome ni juu tunaanza kuonyesha how I am cool to do it with the different partners. And it is a very wrong definition of a lot of things. And now, unfortunately, those men who are quote-unquote mentoring these young teenagers, that's what they are proud of. And this is what the product will be. The product will be that the same young teenagers will have the same effect to the same generation that will be following them. So ndio utasema, why is every man doing this? But we forget, and maybe, and I'm not putting it to a clause and say not every man, but indeed, it is most of them. Now, unfortunately, those who are remaining are not really spoken of a lot of times because we have been overshadowed by a very loud multitude of people who define manhood, and it's their definition is so skewed.
But why are we pinning this on men? Because the sexual activity is between 2 people. Meaning, bado kulikuwa na
understanding.
Yeah, kulikuwa na mdema alikuwa anataka kuifanya. So, in as much as mwanaume atasema, I'm not defending men, but I'm just saying that tuache kuangalia kitu kuipin down on one gender when hii kitu inafanywa na gender ngapi? Mbili. And then I have a question. If you can be able to talk publicly about your body count, then usiende hapo nini Mr. Price mu have sex hapo mbele ya watu. See, you're being proud of the body count. Then why do you have mjifiche don't have his sex? Meaning kuna some sense of privacy and some sense of intimacy that is supposed to be shared. Umesema orgy na threesome between the 3. Mbona kunaga mtu mwenye atenda hapo kwa stage mwenye anaanza kwa sex?
And na feel pia, I think, you know what our generation right now is doing, we are blaming one another, and unfortunately once we are blaming one another, it ends us up not tackling the issue. Because the issue is not you or me, the issue is not Candy, the issue is not Steve, the issue is not Sam, the issue is not Cliff who is behind the cameras. The issue is, why is this happening? Why are we comfortable with these things? And we are, you know, unfortunately, Instagram, the reason Instagram or a lot of conversations that most of the people have is because there is a definition of like. So if you like something, it means it is it can be sold to you again tomorrow. It is prescribed to you again tomorrow. That's why in the algorithms of either YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or social media in general, Instagram included or TikTok, is whatever you prescribed, whatever you liked, whatever you double tapped, that's what they prescribe to you. If you double tapped to a lot of art meaning drawing, art meaning singing, art meaning dancing, that is what those algorithms will give you back. It's like more of garbage in, garbage out, quote unquote. That's the same thing. So, and I feel, Kenya too, and I totally agree with what Sam is saying. If our generation sits down and think, and even including even our parents, we sit down and stop blaming him or her, and sit down and look at the issue and what is the issue, and let's deal with the issue. A lot of problems in our country and in Africa and in the world at large will change because we will work towards the issue. And you can imagine, Corona's just 2020 we had it was a pandemic, and that was one of the pandemics that most, as in our generation, I have been able to live through a pandemic. You know, the first pandemic was on measles and most of the people died. There are people who never went through it. A couple of number went through it, and they, you know, so, excuse me. So, na feel Corona venye ilikaa tulianza kusema ni China. But China haikusolve shida za Africa on Corona bado ikispread. Unaelewa? Ili ndio maybe the origin was from China, but China is not the problem of Corona. But if we looked at China, a lot of people would have died. Yes, a lot of people have already died, but the number would have been even higher if these other governments, which are not from China, will choose to blame China. But they sat down together and said, this is not a China problem, this is not an African problem, this is a world's problem. Now let's tackle this issue from us coming together and solving the issue.
And if I may add to whatever it is that you're saying, Steve, and I completely agree with whatever you're saying. Why is it that since tunaongelea hii discussion wanaume wanabrag juu how many sexual partners wamekuwa nao but hawabrag juu masturbation ama pornography? Mbona hiyo inahappen hivyo? Naget? Like the issue is not
about masturbation
na pornography.
Okay.
But wanabrag kuhusu nime have sex na wanawake wengi. Naget? It takes two to tango. If we start pinning it on one gender or the other, we are not really solving the problem.
Actually, we're creating a problem again. We are adding to the problem.
We are adding salt to injury.
Yes.
The issue is, why are you engaging in this sexual perversion? That is the question. The question shouldn't be, why are men taking pride in having many sexual partners or publicly speaking about the body count? The great question should be, why are we engaging in sexual activities?
But Sam, don't you think that's an opinion that most of the people have created or have come up with? And that's why a lot of our generation, either let me use ladies because this, when we're talking about men. Ladies, that's why the ladies came up with an opinion, and someone said, you know what, men are dogs, men are trash. And then they were like, yes, but then I agree. And it became a quote-unquote theory that most of the ladies are prescribing to. Now, unfortunately, you find someone who is not a quote-unquote dog or trash, then you start asking, where are the good men? Let me tell you, they are good men, but they are so childish. I'm wondering.
Again, I have another question. If all men are dogs, then what makes the guys or the chiles who engage in them in sexual activities
Not dogs.
have you ever seen a dog in their farasi who engage in sexual activities?
And that's what I'm saying. Most of these things are opinions created, became a theory, and most of the people prescribe to it. And unfortunately, we are in an informed generation. Very informed. Now, when someone is saying all these things, my question is, where are you taking the information from? Now, unfortunately, you find a lawyer talking about how men are dogs, and you're wondering, what? Now, if they are dogs, and you're a lawyer, what is the genesis of this story? What you're talking about? What is your constitution for if you're a lawyer? And the law of land is from the constitution. Now, if you're caught stealing, we go back to the law of the land and ask, what is the penalty of stealing? We say the penalty of stealing is being jailed for a couple of months or a couple of weeks. Ukipatikana una mask, the question is, if the government arrests the police officer kama kuarrest, the question will be, bona na kushika. Na kushika juu kwa law inasema 1, 2, 3. Now, it is unfortunate, from an informed generation, a lot of us are getting lost.
Okay. Let me just put a word out there now that you both have been talking. My idea is this. I'm not saying the issue is men or ladies, but I'm going back to an individual perspective.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, as a lady, there's no use in you taking pride in your body count and you telling a guy, mi nimelala na mashaliwa 4 ama wawili, nilisikia si ati sema more than 3. So
onyesha experience. I am very experienced.
I had quite discussion about because the name body count haizi sema more than 3. So 3 is another name for 10 ama but D3.
D3 ni more.
Just nimesema normally that's the idea. Ukisikia dema haizi sema more than 3. So ukisikia dema amesema 3, ujue anamaanisha more than 3 kiplani. And the reason as to I'm going back to that individual is, hauwezi ongelelea kila mtu na huwezi jua mtu anaengage sex kwa sababu ya what reason. Naked. But as a lady, you need to ask yourself, what do I want? Naked. What is making me do whatever I'm doing? Even the ladies when you're nakanga ratchet kabisa, I look at them and I know there's a part of them that they keep on asking themselves, why am I at this point? How do I go back? How do I fix things? Nani gets sasa? So mi sitakuja nikiblame mtu nikisema, oh, you're engaging in sex, it's wrong, because I don't know why they're engaging, the reasons why they're engaging. Others, kama, okay, let me not use that example, but unapata dem ali have sex, akaget mtoi.
Yes.
Vile ameget mtoi, idea is that your drive ya kutaka ku have sex once you already delivered. Ndio maana nasikia mdema akiwa na mtoto wa kwanza kuna chances anaweza pata mtoi mwingine. Na mse mwenye amepata ball, it's not like ana take pride akisema mimi niko na mtoi, nataka ku have sex tena, nataka kuwa na mtoto mwingine ama something of that sort. Unaget? So let's ask ourselves, what part is not fixed? Is it family? Is it your relationship? Do you long for intimacy that you're not getting? Unaget? Acha niwaambie, kila mtu anakangoku ni kama we belong to the streets, but everybody ndani ana long for that intimacy ya kupendwa na msi. Na ndio maana chali mwenye atajipresent the first one, mimi nitampea hati yangu yote na ni feel there is need nimpeadi to have sex so that mwanaume feel big there.
And kama umesement what you intimacy.
And what most ladies don't know is that men atokiwa pia sex kama hakudai. Unaget? So information back to the individual, what is making you do whatever you do.
We're doing, yeah.
Unaget? How is it look? Hata each generation tuko so messed up nowadays because huku ndio kuna a lot of divorced families. Mwingine sijui like watu wako tu all over wako na messed up mentalities na ndio maana mental health problems zina increase. Ndio maana sasa wako na bipolar, ndio maana sasa wako na depression. Unaget? So we blame everything on sex. Mtu mwenye ako na depression, when you do we call it assessment. You ask an individual if you engage in sex, like to sijui kani sessions ama sijui wanaitangaji, but duration like let me whisper kwanza.
What? Okay. Hata si atujui Kenya muuliza.
It's bad. If I put it itatoka vibaya.
Okay.
Like we normally ask when you engage in sex, how many times will you do it? Like will you have sex?
Okay.
Will you go like in a day? Will you go 3 ama 4 times ama some? Hiyo ni part of some of the questions that we ask. Because mtu mwenye ako depressed ama msi mwenye ako na issues na bipolar, you tend to find tendencies za vile wana engage in activities, energy inakuwa a lot at some point and then tena ndio maana tunaulizanga such question. So unaweza fikiria msi ana have sex kwa sababu anataka ku have sex, lakini kuna vile ako na mental disorder. Okay. Unaniget sasa? So sikue so netowaje ignorant, unarusha tu vitu vile tu unajisikia. Kuna a lot of things zenye zina contribute to someone getting to that level. Hadi unasikia mtu ni sex addict, wengine ni pornography, so imemfanya kwenda this lifestyle yenye anataka ku develop. Na ndio maana vile umesema the issue is not the boy or the girl, the issue is what is making you do whatever you're doing. Mnanielewa sasa? Yeah. So as a lady, as a guy, even I know with guys, they don't say out there out loud, but I sometimes feel men are hard so much huku nje. Unapenda mdem ni bia kupendi. Unapenda mdem anataka tu pesa. Hizi ni vitu zenye wanaume hata go out loud akisema mimi mwanangu alikata juu sina pesa. Lakini mtu anaumia hana pesa na the reason sina dem ni kwa sababu sina do. Unaniget?
Yeah.
So why kazi yenye mtu anataka concentrate ni the act rather than what is the problem. Unaget? Na ndio maana ile situ kwa Tanzania, if a guy was to tell you I am struggling with pornography, akwambia let's wait, let's not have sex. No. As a Chile, how would you react?
Okay. I wanted just to make it clear it was men to women.
No.
It was men to women.
Okay. I don't think it has happened vice versa. It has happened.
Well, it may not. But again, I told
for men, yes. Me share some of your story. That's why I asked that question. Yeah. A man said during the wedding, babe, this is what is happening. Me nimekuwa nikistruggle na pornography for the longest time. Now that we are married, I don't feel we should have sex tonight. Acha to it happen. And them akamhaga kamwambia, babe, it's okay. But in this generation, do you think a guy telling a Chile, let's wait, atakubali?
I think atamchekelea.
Is it possible to
please let us know, is it possible?
Is it possible? Like dem akikwambia, Chile akikwambia
they are struggling.
Will you wait and go like, babe, tunaweza ngoja? Wewe ulisema hapana.
Mimi nisema bado.
Ulisema demu yake akwambia hapana, lazima hiyo siku. Hivyo ndio kusema kana.
Guys, I hope you enjoying. Hope you're enjoying this conversation. And maybe with your final remarks, both of you, what will be your final remarks to these amazing viewers? We can start with you, Sam.
My final remarks takuwa sex is meant for marriage, adultery and fornication. It's outside the boundaries of marriage. Whatever it is that you're going through, and even if you may engage in any sexual activities, that does not mean that a person is seen as an outcast. There's still space, there's still room for you to better yourself, and there's something called secondary virginity, which is also as important as maintaining your virginity. And guys, if it is not necessary to engage in any sexual activity, please don't.
Yeah.
It has a lot of repercussions, it has a lot of responsibilities, it has a lot of consequences. Please, to chill, man.
To chill. Candy?
Mine would be okay with talking about this subject with your friends. Tell them what is going on in your mind. Ask them whether even though minaskia niko in this relationship na this is what the guy wants or this is what the lady wants, what do you think? Ask them. Unaget, kuna hiyo discussion yenye mkiwa nayo and your friends throws in an opinion kind of makes you feel you're not alone.
Yeah.
Na hiyo drive ya kusema no itakuja tu and you'll say no. Again, if you indulge in sex and in a place where you're feeling filthy or you're feeling, how do I redeem myself? Stop beating yourself too hard. Pursue purity. Usikuwe na ile drive ya kufanya the wrong thing again and again and again. Like, come to a consensus and go like, baby, I'm changing my life and this is how I want to live. Usi allow yourself to drain in that field. Sex is not bad, but now the feeling after is what makes it wrong. Does the person love you or not? Is the person using you or not? Again, utaanza sasa kufikiria niko na ball ama sina ball. Unaget? So if you can share whatever you're going through, share. Feel free to share. Ask me niko hapo akina Steve wako hapo. You can just throw in a comment and say, "But I need help. There's something I'm going through and I need to talk to someone." Throw it out there. As we don't judge, we will not judge you because we've been in these spaces. Tumeongelea story na body count. How do you approach a situation where a girl dem anakuapproach like Liliana anakuapproach ama Gia anakuapproach? Isn't it discussions we are open to talking about?
Yeah.
So tutakuwa like, what happened? No. So feel free to talk about these issues and know that above all you are loved and you're still treasured no matter how or where you are in life. Yes.
Guys, my final remarks. I'll start with the family. Love a person. I think nothing starts from nothing. Everything has a genesis. So with that, I would love to tell every parent that child of yours who you know is struggling with sex or with a sexual sin, I think there's a problem that resulted to that. If you as a parent, you're not able to handle it, there are a lot of professionals, the likes of Candy, who are able to help your son or your daughter walk through this journey. Because again, it's not that because they made a mistake, they are an outcast. It means they made a problem and they need someone to work with them to find a solution. To the society, a lot of things that we have made law are out of opinions, and many of them are not truth. My question is, what is your constitution? To you who is struggling with the definition of a lot of things, I would like you to take time. Ningetaka ukae down na uangalie effects ya kenye unado. Not because you're judged, but before even you get out of that door, before you do something, look at the effects and ask yourself, first of all, is it beneficial and is it true? Let us help one another as we continue having this conversation on sex. It may look so so funny, it may be an enjoyable topic, but again, it has a lot of effects and repercussions to it. It may be good if it's done in the right context. It may be the worst decision you made when it's done in the wrong context. Let's keep purity to chill. Abstinence is the way, and not only purity sexually, but purity in what you think about, purity in what you say, and purity in what you have in your heart. The Bible says that guard your heart and guard your mind. From the abundance of it springs out the issues of life. My name is Steve Kamau. This is Tupatane. Let's meet next time, same place, same time, with the amazing panelists. You'll see them all. Enjoy your day, enjoy your evening. Unapendwa sana.